how they're broken, because we've seen it. We've all walked in it, and we all have some brokenness in us. But what we want to do is get tools. We want to be able to empower each other that even if you are broken in any way, it's no reason to remain that way. So today what we're going to do is dialogue. We're going to talk about freeing your broken heart. We're going to talk about things you can do to utilize when you feel like you can't let go. But we want to empower and teach you that if you haven't let go yet, it's time to let go. So get ready for a wonderful podcast with classic conversations. And we want to make sure that you have a great time. Again, feel free to ask questions if you like, input anything you like to do, and let's have a great time. Thank you.
Test. Okay, I'm working. Hey, everybody, how y'all doing? Excuse me, this is my first time using this microphone, and this thing will not fit around this, so you'll see me doing a lot of shifting and everything up here. But listen, while I got y'all attention, I need for everybody to pull your cell phones out, and I need for you to go to YouTube, and I need for you to put in Classic Conversations. That's classic with a K, conversations with a K. And I need for you to hit that subscribe button. So let's go and do that real quick. Let's get the business part out of the way. Let's go and get that done. Let's get that done real quick there.
Subscribe.
Yes. Yes. There's another little button to the side that says share. You can hit that one too, and share it with your friends. Tell everybody to hit the button. They need to come on in while we're free, because soon, you know what they say, the price today is not going to be the price tomorrow. The price that it is today will not be the same price tomorrow. That's what it is. So you better come on in while it's for the free 99. You dig? Let's get that there done.
A free 99.
Just raise your hand when you get it done. Let's raise your hand when you get it done. There we go. I got one in the building. I got two in the building. Come on. She's already there. This young lady here.
Will there be another?
Got three over there. Come on over here. I see you over there hiding over there with the red braids. Come on. Put your hand up. Let me know when you get that subscribe button, girl. Come on now. There you go. Bam. All right, boy, we cooking with some oil right now. Oh, yeah. All right, man, listen. Welcome. Classic Conversations with JT and Low. Ask a Cop.
That's not how you start the show. Start it right, JT.
All right, okay. Hey, yo, what's happening, people? It is time for Classic Conversations with JT and Low.
And our man Ask a Cop not here tonight.
Yes, Ask a Cop shows up when he want to show up. We've been asking where he's been for a minute, so that is what it is. Listen, people, I've already told y'all what to do in regards to following, but understand this. We are also on the Dame Dash Network. It is called America New. That is America in You. It is an app. You go in there, again, free, sign up for it. Then you scroll down to the Mommy Lounge, and you'll see Classic Conversations right there. Our whole show is there. We got commercials, the whole nine. So if you got something and you want people to see, you want to advertise your stuff, reach out, man. Might be able to work something in for you. Now, that ain't free. Understand, that part ain't free, but you might get a discount since we're so early and everything. Angelo, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, brother. How you feeling, man?
I'm hot because I was rushing because I tried to take an old man nap before I came over here. And didn't do well, so now I'm rushing. I'm waiting for my body to catch up with myself. Then I'll stop sweating and everything. Dr. Cindy, of course, always good to have you. How you doing?
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. You already know. Love it. I've had a great day.
Got some special guests in the building. Mr. Josh. What's up, bro?
What's happening?
College Park zone, right?
Come on down south side. I must be doing all right to, get an invite again.
Hey, man. Hey, bro.
I think I'm welcome into the family.
That
feels all right.
You can come whenever you want to. Just make sure that you duck, because the way our doors and insurance is set up, you can't be paying for nothing like that right there. So, just make sure you duck your head when you come in. But you can come on in and sit down anytime. We're going to get you a bigger chair one of these days.
No, I'm good.
Get your stool. So I'm glad you wore your pants with your knees out so you can stretch on out. So then we ain't got to worry about your pants splitting or anything like that. And I knew I was going to.
Tyshawn
Jackson.
Yeah.
I remembered it. Got another special guest in the building. How you doing, young lady?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. I'm trying to join the family.
Hey, man.
I'm trying to get the Josh treatment.
Hey. Now, while you're messing around, we need somebody like you on our team, Mr. Tyshawn Jackson. Go on and introduce
I just put the pitch out there. But hey, everybody. My name is Tyshawn Jackson. I am currently a candidate for state court judge in DeKalb County. I am honored to be here. I'm pleased about the topic that we're going to discuss today. I can certainly relate professionally and personally, so I'm excited to be here, and I am excited about the conversation. So let's get it started.
All right. So you know what? We're gonna let you get things started off because you sent me some great questions. So
Yeah.
go on, pick one of them and get it going.
So, I think we want to talk about when you have to let go, right? Why does the fear of loneliness kick in and you don't think you can let go? So the fear of loneliness, which is one of the most common reasons people hold on, is like, if I let go of this relationship that I have now, what they gonna do? Who I'm gonna be with? Who they gonna be with? What if I'm by myself? Why do we think the fear of loneliness kicks in and people just refuse to let go? Tyshawn.
Well, speaking on personal relationships, I think sometimes people do not know, cannot fathom what life is like without a person. And that tends to take over. It succumbs a person, and they get so wound up with that thought of what life will be like that I didn't imagine, and I can't imagine it, that I'm going to do whatever I can to make it happen, to make it stay, even if those actions are action that cause harm to others.
Yeah. Give me an example of
Okay.
causing harm to others, please.
So I have an actual personal example. My mother was an amazing woman. She was a single mom of 2 children, me and my brother. But unfortunately, when I was 9 years old, I lost my mother to domestic violence by her domestic partner. He actually took her life, and I found her when I came home from school. That was my introduction of how a domestic violence issue ultimately ends up as a fatality. And as a child, I not only saw the end result, but I also saw the result from the very beginning. I saw the constant abuse. He used to jump out of the bushes near the house when she left to go to work, stabbed her in her arm. It was repeated acts of violence because she left him. And I really feel, even though I was a child, I was able to observe and understand why these actions were happening. And it was because she was leaving him, didn't want to be with him. And then he saw my mother with another man. And that prompted a whole nother level of violence that you couldn't even imagine. Picture this. We stayed on the second floor of a 2-family house, and we stayed on the top floor. And I remember, and there's no way to get to the top floor but going through the door that's downstairs to get upstairs. But the second floor, we had a balcony. The person who ultimately took my mother's life climbed the house to get to the second floor because he couldn't get in from the door, and then ran. And it's a very narrow porch. But at the door is a piece of glass at the door, so he had to run to get some momentum and dive through the door, the mirror part of the door, to get in the house. Luckily, my mother had a male friend there. And so what I've also learned through that incident, through my mother's incident, that when other men are present, men are not men, abusers are not so abusive when another party is present where they cannot exert dominance or control over that person. So when he saw the other person in the house, he was cool as ice. He hit him. It's not funny, but he hit my mother line. I just want to see my son. But that really wasn't. Of course, we all know that really wasn't why. But all of those acts I saw as a child, repeatedly over and over, I saw them escalating. And every time it escalated, it was because my mother expressed the fact that we will not be together. And she continued to stay the course. And ultimately, it cost her life because he didn't want to move on.
What a profound story. And I'm sure in your role, you see so much of that these days, right?
So currently I serve as a prosecutor in DeKalb County. I've been a prosecutor for the last 11 years, prosecuting our serious violent cases that involve firearms, including homicide cases. I have seen repeatedly over and over abusers abusing their significant other, ultimately taking their lives. I've seen men be the abusers. I've seen women be the abusers. And you can see there's always a pattern um, of violence that takes place in these situations that it ultimately escalates to take a person life. It's never the first incident.
Right.
And what we've also learned as prosecutors is typically it takes a victim of violence at least 7 times before they would even consider leaving.
Right.
And luckily, as prosecutors, when we investigate these cases or prosecute these cases, we are able to pull every record of violent incidents and use that.
Phone records, emails, everything that you're sending, threatening in ways that you think in your rage of anger, no one's gonna get this.
Yeah.
But you as a prosecutor, people don't know. I could pull these records as far back as I need to and saw the pattern of you threatening this person before the act.
Absolutely.
Wow.
We also pull additional police reports of prior incidents to show the level of abuse. And we want to make sure we get it right. There are times when the victim, if you may get arrested for domestic violence, but what we would do is pull all the reports to see where the pattern lies. And
Right.
sometimes it could be the victim who has just had enough
Absolutely.
and ultimately exerts a form of self-defense that is kind of phrased as being domestic violence when it's really self-defense. So we have an opportunity to review all those things and take it to account when we are investigating our case and ultimately bringing charges on people. And now I'm running for judge in state court that deals with domestic violence issues. So I want to use a combination of my life and legal experiences to really get to the root of the issue that we call domestic violence. Domestic violence is an epidemic that people don't think of as an epidemic, but it's definitely an epidemic that I want to use whatever I have, my life and legal experience, to get to the root of those issues so I can prevent another 9-year-old child from witnessing my tragedy.
Absolutely.
And I could save another life. And,
Great work.
and thank
Great
you.
work. Josh, from a male perspective, right? And you know that domestic violence, as Tyshawn and I have been doing some research lately, we see that there's been a lot of women who are the abusers lately. A lot who have literally been told, I'm done, right? It's not. Why does it seem like they just don't take no for an answer? And when you tell them you're done, why do the abuse come? Violence, tearing up stuff. What is that from a
Bleaching
male
clothes.
perspective for you?
Well, first of all, I'm trying to still wrap my head around your story, you know what I mean? And the fact that you're,
Right.
you know, I couldn't imagine that type of trauma. So I had to take a second to just acknowledge, you know, what you're feeling or still feel, because that's a void that's been missing.
Thank you.
But to answer your question, I feel like it's a thing where, for one, what they show you has always been in them. And
Absolutely.
it comes in waves of verbal abuse, mental or emotional abuse, prior to it jumping into the next stage or phase. I actually was, over the past couple of years, in a abusive relationship. I mean, I've been in other ones, but this one is most recent. So I'm gonna try to express it without doing too much, because I'm currently in something. But it's still
Okay.
important for people to know.
Absolutely.
And the slick way that they go about the abuse is, for one, the love bombing.
Which is
A lot
real.
of people don't know the love bombing and the over, like, they're about you and everything, and oh my gosh, and all of this stuff. So they reel you in. And then when they feel like that's not enough, they get to the people that's closest to you. So that's the other form of abuse that people don't realize and recognize, because you could be the person that could see and visualize, okay, I see what's going on with the action,
Yeah.
and you start pulling back, but now they've reeled in your loved ones. So now you got the battle of your loved ones telling you, no, this person is really
She good,
amazing. She
yeah.
good. Yeah, I don't know what you see, but just give her a chance. Be patient, be calm. I'm talking to her too. Right? And over time, you see it spiraling. You see and you witness it, but then the unfortunate part is when feelings are involved, then you do try to overlook or you do try to be forgiving and you try to be understanding.
Yeah.
So that's why the cycle continues. When you look at people that deal with certain things, I've had abuse in my family. I had an aunt that had dealt with abuse, and she never left her husband because it was a deep thing. And then you ask yourself, like, why? Why does this person not see it? Like we're talking to her, all these things are happening, but she's not leaving.
Yeah.
But to go back to something else, because you even touched on it, your experiences as a child is what makes or breaks how you move forward in this world and how you view relationships.
Absolutely.
So if you're used to seeing somebody be disrespectful, if you're used to seeing somebody be abusive and then that person's not leaving, that's a conflicting message.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But to you, right, this is love.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, well, my mom was beating on my dad, or my dad was beating on my mom, and nobody ever left. It was kind of like they apologized and they just keep it moving. So I guess this is what it looks like. This is my first example of what a relationship is. Not realizing how unhealthy that is.
Yeah. It looks like it.
And,
It feels
and that
like
is that is the constant cycle that we see. So the first root, in my opinion, is whatever's stemming from childhood, because if you don't correct that, then even as an adult, you're going to still stay in that pattern.
Yeah. It's interesting you bring up the love bombing, which clinically we talk about gaslighting, and parents do that, right? When you get in trouble, and moms feel like, I got to whoop him. Right, I got to whoop him, but come here, baby. So the mama crying because the baby crying, but you don't know how to shift the discipline. So it's like, okay, let me take you to Family Dollar and buy you some. No, you got to not do that. If they're wrong, discipline them. Not discipline them and then award them. So people grow up believing that they master gaslighting. They master putting themselves in a position to cuddle you and then be angry a moment later or a moment before. So now it's like, oh, okay, I think I know how to do this. So they do it with their mates or whomever they're that close to, right? And when you figure out how people get here, I always think about how someone doesn't say, that's enough. Like people around you. We always talk about accountability partners. But I got a best friend here. We've been best friends for 35, 40 years. Let's say that. Ain't no way she gonna let me do some stuff that a lot of these women do. Cause that's she gonna, like, what? I mean, like, and it ain't the people that's involved. Come on, it's me and you right here. What are you talking about? What do you mean you did that? What do you mean, girl, I wish you, right? So I always would be remiss to think, are there people in your family and in your circle that are afraid to say, hey, sis, hey, bruh, let's get you some help?
But that's because we live in a culture and a community of that ain't my business.
Yeah.
So people will be quick to see something. If I see a man hitting on a woman and that's over there, it's kind of like, man, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
You're right.
Because the unfortunate part is you also hear the horror stories of people that do step in and lose their life.
Absolutely.
Or the people that do step in and then the woman and the man are now filing charges when that woman was just getting beat on.
Yeah.
You just saw the woman getting hands put to her.
Don't touch my man.
And then all of a sudden you jump in and she like, nah, we gonna call on you, bro. What you doing?
Right.
Him, her.
Yeah. Cause
Yeah.
so it's a real unfortunate situation, but I'm with you from the standpoint of do right.
Right.
Because for me, I get to sleep good at night if I know I've made the effort to do right.
Right.
Speak up, break up something, hold somebody accountable, apologize, whatever that looks like. I'm a big fan of that.
You know,
Yeah.
that when you talk about the society of minding your business or that ain't my business, it's, you know how everybody say things going full circle. Fashion, hairstyles,
Yeah.
everything come back.
Yeah.
Back when I was a kid, which was a long
It was a long time ago.
people, they knew what was happening, and sometimes it was applauded. Dude, excuse my French ladies, but dude, check your bitch.
Yeah.
They applauded another man to slap his woman around to keep her in control. Then there was the chivalrous stage, to where now men started opening up doors, men started putting coats over water so the woman wouldn't have to walk in the water, doing everything and stepping in and making sure nobody attacked the woman, even if it wasn't a woman of yours or somebody that's in your circle.
Yeah.
But now we're back to the point of, nah, bruh, you do what you need to do. That's his thing. That's his woman. It's like a cycle that just keeps going within. And you know, I don't know what goes on in other cultures. It might, but all I can speak of is ours.
Yeah.
Because mostly I hang out with black people, so this is what I see around black people. But it just seems like within our culture, it's whatever fits at that moment. And just like you're saying, we need to do right. But instead of the right for us is whatever gets the most clicks or whatever
Right.
makes you seem the coolest.
Go
Instead
viral.
of the right by the right by the word or the right by your upbringing and things of that nature. And again, your story is that's deep.
Yeah.
That trauma that you have of walking in and finding your mother, you know, something like that. We went there,
Yeah.
and I wanted to go there a little later, but we went there. So seriously, my prayers are with you and your family still to this day, because that's I had to come back to that because that's it's like you say, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
But thank you. And I want to talk to you about when you say your friends hold you accountable. It's ironic that you say that. From my perspective, I never got counseling, right? Because I grew up, I'm an African American woman. I grew up with a black family. We didn't come from the best means, so I knew nothing about therapy.
Wow.
No one introduced me to therapy. So as a child, I never knew that was a thing or existed. And by the time I learned of therapy, I was in college.
Yeah.
And so, of course, at this time, it's like 10 years had passed. So in my head, I'm like, well, there's no point in going to therapy now. 10 years has passed. And recently, since I announced my candidacy, and I tell this story to people so people understand why I'm running, the reason I'm running for office and the reason why it's personal to me, my sorority sister reached out and said, you know what, I know that you think that you are healed, but as this comes into the forefront, I think you should still consider getting therapy.
Absolutely.
Facts.
And this incident happened almost 30 years ago, and I didn't realize that it still affected me to the day till I sat down. Came out as a joke, but I went back home and was like, wow. Another politician said, well, why are you single? And I was like, well, I don't know. You know, I haven't met anyone. But I went back and just did a reflection of myself, and I realized that every guy I date, I find a way to get out of it.
Absolutely.
Because subconsciously, in the back of my head, they're going to kill me.
Right.
I always thought that I would find every little thing. It could be what I categorize as the dumbest thing. But I take that little thing and I escalate it mentally in my head because that's my way of protecting myself.
It's your safe zone.
It's my safe zone.
Absolutely.
And if I continue along this path, I will never find love, and I will be an 80-year-old woman sitting at home with some cats, and that's not something I do. So
Right.
I have actually recently started looking for therapists to help me in this endeavor, especially while I'm on this journey. I'm already dealing with difficult times as it is. So to add on to that, as I tell this story over and over again, and it's in the forefront of my mind, I'm glad that I had good friends that even say today that even though that happened so long ago, you should still consider, you should get therapy. It can help you on your journey.
So in regards to
Yeah.
accountability
Yeah.
partners, in regards to breakups, how many of any of us in here has had a friend or something break up with someone and you checked on them to see how they were doing?
Yeah, we do.
Now, when I say check on them, I'm not saying, come on, girl, let's go out, or come on, bro, let's go to strip club.
Right.
I'm saying really checked on them because, you know, trying to figure out that I don't think there's a book on how to break up or how to deal with it. I don't think it's a book because everyone deals with it differently, especially if you were the one that got caught. You're going to deal with it differently. You really don't want to break up if you were the one that got caught.
Yeah.
But the person that actually caught somebody, and it could be cheating, it could be doing whatever. The person that actually did the breaking up usually deals with it differently than the person that's being broken up with.
Right.
And so there's, you know, when you're talking about checking on people, you know, somebody that actually broke up with somebody, and just be candid.
Yeah.
As men, you know, back in the day, we used to say the best way to get over a woman is to get on top of another one. That was our thing.
Right.
Not realizing that it didn't do anything because after you got off of her, you still felt the same way that you felt before you got on top of her.
Yeah.
You know, women kind of, y'all sit in it. We as men, we try and jump back out there. And then as soon as it starts sitting on us, the woman that broke up with us or we broke up with is now flourishing and the light is shining on her. And now we start dealing with it then.
Yeah.
That's usually, and not 100%, but that's usually how men deal with it. We jump back out there
Yeah.
off the rip. We no different than any other trauma in our lives. We don't like to deal with it. We just jump out there. We don't we don't take accountability for what we did. We don't think about what we did. If we know we did something wrong, we find the reason why it was wrong and the reason why they made us do whatever, and we jump back out there.
Yeah.
We as men have to hold other men accountable when they mess up like that. You know what I'm saying? So, what are some healthy,
Tools.
yeah, there you go, healthy tools that y'all think could be used when someone is either broken up with or doing the breaking up?
So before doctor goes, 'cause she about to go in. I had this thought, and it's for the women in here. So I do want to acknowledge what you said, King. It is important that we hold ourselves accountable, and we take responsibility for our actions. I love, you know, playing devil's advocate from time to time, but I do want to pose this question to the two queens up here because so many times, right, when a woman is done, she broke up with you years before that.
Yeah.
So we don't never talk about that, right? She's staying in a relationship, but she done hit that switch. She done turned that thing off.
Yeah.
So then there's more damage. There's more resentment. There's all of these things that's being done. So when you said it seems like they flourish, like on one end, it's almost like whoever's next up that's already been in motion. And it's because it's such a competitive market. Oftentimes, from my experience, those are my two disclaimers,
Gotcha.
so y'all don't beat me up.
Bring it in.
Gotta
Right.
be careful with the words, right? She want to make sure that you feel it when she moves on. So for people that move that way, I don't necessarily think that they in this grandiose space. Because your moving on ain't according to your heart or your spirit. Your moving on is to make me feel some type of way.
Well, well,
I knew you
I'll
would.
tell you that he didn't knew you wouldn't. I tell you this. When women heal properly from any relationship, they don't know if there's someone coming, but they're preparing for when they do. So when they heal properly, because it's a facade, they have this one they don't want their girlfriends to know because somebody done told her already. How many more chances you got? You done yet? Right? And then we got the one you want to give to the guy to make him think I got these tons of interest. Like everybody want me because you don't. That's not true. You cannot move on to any relationship without the proper healing because they are soul tied together from sex. The sex and the soul tie is so real that he gave a great analogy of men aren't always connected through sex. They can jump on and jump off, change a face, two-bagger, and never see her if they want to. But women are emotional creatures. They're going to think.
Did you just say two-bagger?
Yeah,
I
two-bagger.
wanted to ask.
Okay.
She
I
was
had
in
to
her
ask.
bag,
Like,
so
is that what I heard? Okay, go ahead. Carry on.
sound like got to take some notes. Got to take this back to the house, bro.
Two-bagger.
Thought I heard that. Yeah,
You
go ahead.
heard it.
Yeah, carry on.
Two-bagger. I ain't never going to, Dave, no. Two-bag, no, just kidding. So, I'm going to get my life together. I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. Do better. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
my God.
He said, come on, reel it back.
Doctor got to come back.
Reel it back in, reel it back in.
That was Cynthia right there.
So, anywho, right? The attachments with the emotions. So we're not emotionally intelligent to know that I'm toe up by this breakup. All I know is everybody wants to be loved. And a human touch is better than none at all. So I gotta get something because in my mind, most of it is for cheating. People ain't really leaving about other stuff. They'll leave for cheating, and I tell women, I tell my clients, I'll be candidly honest. If that's your deal breaker, you're gonna have problems because you have people come into the relationship that you don't know, and then you're in the relationship and they don't know you. It's very, very seldom you find two people who brings their trauma to the table when they meet because they know that's gonna run people off. Right. But in the world we're in right now today and the age bracket, you 40 up, you supposed to be like, all right, what happened last relationship? Give it to me. Just don't give it to me now. Right? Just give it to me now. Let's get it out. But nobody's really ready to deal with that. So they'll take it, and most people think that sex brings love. And it definitely brings lust. Lust brings problems instead of just sitting back saying, let me get to know you, the good, the bad, and the indifferent. Called on. They so cold in you and know who you are, you supposed to just pull up. I tell you right now, I'm telling you, if I had a day, I had a breakup one time, she didn't even know I was coming. I just pulled up at her house. And I walked in her room and I just let it out. She said, in the middle of her working, oh my God, right? Me. People don't understand. Y'all think because I'm a therapist and I can do this? No, listen, you have to get the release. You have to heal. You got to do your work. You can't take this from this relationship to that relationship to that relationship. It just don't work like that. It's not fair. And next thing you know, you sit back and you're going to see your passion of how you did with him, how he did with her, how he did with her, how you did with him. And it's the same person. It's just these numerators and you the common denominator. You never changed. But you want other people to change with you. No, it don't work like that. You got to do your work. You got to literally sit back and say, I have trust issues. I don't believe in relationships. My self-esteem is low. That last person broke me. Not, oh, you ain't going nowhere, you ain't leaving me. Oh, no, you ain't, because you're afraid of these abandonment and codependency issues that you have. You think you're going to make somebody stay with you? No. So the accountability partners is be done. It's okay. You know, we're going to tell you. You know how many, they outside. They all got them things. You know what I'm saying? They outside, they fine, they fly, they got shoes. Look, why you stuck right here? But it's bigger than that. It's the emotion that I have attached to this person that in my mind I'm not going to find nowhere else. So it's not just it ain't the people. Everybody got that stuff everybody want. She got one and he got one. Everybody got them. It's not that. It's you look at me a certain way. You hug me a certain way. Remember when my lights was out, you paid that bill? Oh my God, look how you do it with the kids. What you mean it's over? They forget all of that. But when it matters, they don't think about it. So if that mattered to you, why you did what you did to me? If all those things matter to you, how we get here? Because nobody bonds. They just connect.
You just brought up a good point, though, in regards to the kids part.
Yeah.
Personal experiences, of course, everyone. You know, if you have children and you're in a relationship with someone and they treat your children greatly, your family gets along with this person in a great way. Is it harder, or is that something that could keep someone in a relationship because they're treating their children, or their children gets along with them greatly, or the family gets along with them in a way that, you know, like, I don't want to break my family's heart or my children's heart, even though my heart is being broken because I'm staying with this person. I'm really ready to go, but I don't want to go because my children are, or I ain't gonna say in love, they love this person also.
The actual parent or somebody new?
Somebody new. They're not the parent. They're not the parent. They're, you know, would be step, bonus, whatever the correct term is these days. Bonus dad, stepmom, bonus mom. But, you know, I know a lot of people. I mean, I've done it myself. I stayed in a relationship way too long because of the simple fact she got along with my son, and my mom loved her. I actually called our wedding off the day before the wedding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they did. And I called it off. I called it off the day before.
Wow.
That happens every day. That we all are staying in relationships with people that we don't have business staying in for fear of what we don't know. I think people are more scared to move on versus
Change.
the whole thing of like being with a person because they're comfortable. I think that fear alone and starting over is what drives people to just stay where they at.
Yeah.
Because if you really take the time to think about it, and if you're putting your kid, like if you're thinking about the people involved, right? Yourself, the person that you're with, and kids if kids are involved. If you think about the kids first, if you're looking at their best interests, why would you want to pass down something to them over your selfish beliefs? Because that's what you're doing, is you're passing down behaviors. I know I said it myself because when the kids were babies, that was kind of like my thing in my first marriage. It was like, well, they babies. They ain't really peeping it right now. But once they start hitting like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's like now it's getting tricky.
Yeah.
But instead of just thinking like, because kids are resilient, man, they will, as long as you can make the proper decision and make sure you let them know it's not them or whatever that process looks like, they're going to be okay over time. It's going to suck, but they're going to be okay over time. So it's like when you put them first, that should be a part of your decision. When you put yourself first in a lot of the things that we do, we wouldn't do half the stuff that we do. I'm a big believer of that because you know what pain is, you know what hurt is, but you're choosing to move in the manner that you're moving. So when we get to a point where we're thinking about ourselves, when we're thinking about people, if we love them, and I'm not leaving out the partner, if I love that person the way that I say, then I love you enough to let you go. If I know that I'm not benefiting you, if I'm not doing the things that I said that I was going to do, that's a part of the agreement of being in a relationship, then I have to make the proper decision to communicate that, and we have to start figuring out what that plan is. Fear is what's keeping people stuck in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
That unknown.
So did you feel like you didn't put yourself first all that time?
Oh, I know for
You
a fact
didn't?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was settling.
Okay.
Conversations I used to have with him. I just had to laugh at it. But no, I was settling at the time because, again, being that my child was born out of a situation that had no solid foundation, when he bonded so much with her, I just, I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing by him. And it took me, it was just one night. I just was out and I was like, damn, I'm actually having fun being myself tonight. And I haven't been myself in so long. So, I was able to, I cut it off. I said, we ain't got to break up, but we ain't becoming husband and wife tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Take it how you want to take it, but,
Yeah.
yeah, so. But I ended up, don't stand up, girl. I got to do it. Stand up, Purple. She was looking for a different color, and her head came out purple. There you go. There you go. Yes, I found mine, so, yeah.
Yeah, and you would not have if you wouldn't have moved on, right?
No, I'd have cheated on that woman so much. I'd have been cheating on her so much. It wouldn't have been good. It wouldn't have been good at all.
I think that's what kind of leads it, right? I would just totally be remiss to not mention that people have been in relationships and marriages for so long, and a lot of people say they lose themselves. And I know you've been in marriage a long time. I know Dave, but do you fall out of love because you've been married to the same person for so long, or do you just find yourself saying, "It's so much. I missed a lot about me going in this relationship."
For me, my first marriage, I loved him, but I fell out of love and I was no longer in love with him.
Okay.
So it's a big difference.
It is. Huge
And
difference.
you start to realize what you deserve, and you start to love yourself more.
I think that, back to what you were saying about the kids, thank you, I'm sorry. I was married for 26 years. And I think for men, it goes back to how you were raised. Like my dad, I couldn't imagine my dad not being in my house, raising the kids. My wife and I, our problem was we didn't get counseling. I'm the man, she's making 6 figures, and I'm chasing money. We didn't fix our marriage through counseling. And I know when you remove the man out of the house, you remove the power. I didn't want to see my son being a single family household. So I didn't want to start that in his life.
Yeah.
So I think some of us men, we stay in a situation, and not abusive, but we stay in a situation, for one, we don't want to rip our house apart. Two, we don't want to see another Negro raising our kids. It wasn't so much of me seeing another man having my wife. It was more, now I don't have my family. And we stay in there year after year after year. Had we got counseling and then brought our kids into the counseling session, then now my son would know why I'm leaving.
Right.
He wouldn't just be like, my dad left me when he got older, he's gonna leave his girl when he get older, his son gonna leave his girl when he get older. So I think some of us as men have to kind of stay for a minute and fix what's in us. Because if you really love your wife,
you're going to stay with her, but you're going to fix why you're disconnected.
Right.
You're not going to go out and lay it with another woman, blah, 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 because that's easy. That's a temptation. That's easy to conquer.
Coward.
You're a coward. You choose a coward route. So I think for some of us, and I wish I had did it, not divorce my wife and rip my family apart. My son is 23. He still deals with that.
Yeah.
And I feel that's my fault. I shouldn't have divorced my wife. I should have went to counseling. Once we were at a place to talk, then bring my son into counseling. And if we can fix it, he'll know why we're having this disconnection. I'm sleeping in another room. She's not cooking anymore. She's not around anymore. There's no more intimacy. And at 16, 17, he could tell. Yeah. Teenagers know when ain't no love in the house.
Yeah.
You can fake it and funk it if you want to.
Yeah.
But he knew. So, and you know my family, Cynthia. You
Very
know my
well.
son. He's a wonderful man. But what I pray that doesn't happen is that I didn't instill enough to him to stay the fight and stay the course.
Right.
You know, to love whoever he's with, not to be in relationship because we didn't get the help.
And I think that goes into freeing yourself. If you did the counseling, see, I'm not saying relationships mean stay. I'm not saying stay anywhere you're not happy. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, if it's over, close it outright. Because it can be over, right? But you got to close that thing outright. You got to respect the tenure, the position, everything you've created, right? Everything you've done with this person, you got to respect the time and energy you put into it, but you got to close it outright, because that's where the problems come in. People just pick up and move on, and you can't. Adults, mature adults, sit down, communicate, and talk, and then if it's over after we've come to that conclusion, then it's over. But the whole, it's got to be a combative, violent situation every time it's over. That's that's a problem.
How often do you see couples sitting down and having a civil conversation and ending it on civil terms? Is that the norm?
So it's not the norm.
Okay.
It's totally not the norm, right? But through counseling, they're mandated to do it, right? I have it no other way, right? I think I'm a dope counselor without having to point people out. I got some clients in the audience. They went from, it's people who literally, I've had clients who were in separate bedrooms, divorce papers on the table. I'm coming with my notary stamp because they over, and the papers tore up and they back on date night sending me pictures. It was over. But what they never did was talk. And they just needed a mediator to resolve the conflict. And when you got down to the bottom of it, what you found out was they never discussed their childhood traumas with one another, and already had the ring, and already had children, and already moved on with years of life, and never said, I was touched as a little boy and I think I'm gay, so that's why I cheat. I was touched as a little girl by my brother, and you keep making me go to my mama's house for family dinners. I don't like this nigga. Like, it was, well, why you didn't tell me that? I never knew how to tell you. But now we in relationship for 25 years, and they don't know your traumas? So you don't communicate, you're even afraid of the person. So this is a common thing I ask everybody I know. How in the world you can go to sleep with a person, close your eyes, fart, slob, and snore, but with your eyes open, you don't trust them?
See, I think a lot of it has to do with self-awareness. Two, recognizing what is a trauma.
Yeah.
Everybody don't
That's
look
a point.
as things as trauma, something that happened in their childhood. They may not think that it's a trauma, so they may not share it. This is when being with someone that can understand certain things and be patient with you,
Yeah.
it becomes important, because as you recognize your trauma, it's going to change you in ways to where you may start acting differently until you're actually able to deal with it. Trauma can be, just like you were saying earlier, now, no way was that small.
Right.
But in your mind, it happened so long ago, it's not bothering me in my movements right now. So people don't recognize actually what trauma is So that's where the self-awareness comes in. It's a very fine line between saying, fuck it, I'm done, and damn, I actually think we can get past this. It's a very, very fine line right there, because you could end up either staying too long or you could end up leaving something that you probably should have stayed in. And I don't know if there's an instruction or a guide to get you through that. You just have to, it's a self-awareness thing. I interrupted you. Go ahead, EB. I'm sorry.
You didn't interrupt me. I just wanted to make sure I made my comment on the heels of yours. But I wanted to say that, like you said, people do not recognize their trauma. So they're able to lay down at night with people who are not good for their healing space. And I must be an anomaly, because I think the issue with people breaking up and not dealing with the breakup well is the fact that they are not resolved in themselves to want to be alone. Like, they don't know how to be alone. People need to have somebody there. It doesn't have to necessarily be a companion, but somebody needs to be there. So I've broken up with a lot of people. I've broken up with family members, friends, romantic partners, and jobs that were no longer serving me, because I recognize when I'm being mistreated, being disrespected, or being abused in any way, it's not because you have an issue with me. It's because something in you is unhealed and you're projecting that trauma onto me. So let me remove my space so that your trauma doesn't interrupt my healing space. So I think that people need to recognize that breakups are perfectly fine if you know how to be alone. But when you break up, there is no reason for you to act violent, stalk a person, send threatening messages, because all this happened to me, okay? I was in an abusive relationship with my daughter's father for a while, and after the breakup, the abuse continued, and nobody held him accountable, not even the court system, and I had to free myself. So by doing that, I created physical distance, meaning I left the state, because it wasn't gonna stop. Because the person that I was dealing with, well, my daughter's father, involuntarily, was dealing with his own childhood trauma, unhealed issues and wounds, and I knew exactly what they were. He just he didn't want to deal with it. He got a broken heart by his mother, because when he needed her the most as a child, she wasn't there. So the way he projected that energy onto every woman in his life, you could see it and feel it in the way he interacted with those women, and especially me. So when I recognized it, I said, I gotta go. And one thing about it is, the great thing that came out of it was his mother called me and said, I can really appreciate what you did. You left him. I know my son, and I know he wasn't good for you. So in that, I was validated, I was vindicated, I felt justified in my decision to move on. But at the same time, it was like, well, how do I get the trauma projection to stop? Like, how do I, and at some point I had to realize it wasn't about me. He needed to realize that he needed to heal on his own, and I needed to go ahead and heal from what he put me through. So that's how, I just feel like people just need to learn how to be alone.
I got a question for you. Thank you for sharing that. My first question is, you said it was your mother or his mother?
That called me?
Yeah.
His mother.
Was that her first time saying that to you, or has she had mentioned that to you prior to?
She and I had not spoken very often prior to, like, what he does is he keeps people separate in his life. So we had one interaction. Now, I'll tell you this. Having a child with somebody you don't know is not what I recommend. And like you say, people lay down with people all the time, and they have children, and they don't really know what people have gone through, and they bring new life into these unhealed positions and unhealed environments. So that's what happened there. So I didn't have a chance to speak to his mother often prior to us having a child. It was after I had the child, and she realized what I was going through, because I no longer kept it silent. I started speaking about it, and once I started talking about it, it was all kind of people in support coming out the woodworks, and she finally called my phone and let me know how her son was.
And I'm glad that she and whoever else did that. my issue, because this is something that we've spoken about, is people know that woman knows her son.
Right.
And the fact that she stayed quiet as long as she did is my problem. Now, I don't know her personally, but again, if we trying to grow and we talking about accountability, that's my issue in our community. People won't say nothing.
Right.
You know your kid. You know your kid. And you letting your son or daughter behave the way that they're behaving, causing trauma to somebody else, and you have a child from it. So guess who else is about to get some of that? Whether you want it or not, that child got to deal with that.
Right.
And nobody's exempt. That is a part of my frustration, because, ma'am, it's too late. My oldest daughter, same thing. My oldest daughter was going through it. You know how many stories I heard after I filed for divorce? I don't want, now?
Right.
You gonna tell me all this now? You gonna lay this on my lap right now?
Right.
Oh, it was because, now? I gotta deal with that, now? Now I'm the enemy because things weren't handled properly, but I wasn't in a position to step up and do certain things because I did not know. It's unfair. I hope people hear this, because it's unfair.
Yeah.
What she saw at that age, that's unfair. Somebody knows something somewhere, and they sat back and they didn't say nothing.
Right.
That's what bothers me, man. And it's like, why? Go ahead. I know you want to say something.
No, because you brought up something that touched me, and it disturbs me. That once individuals break up, and the primary mother or the primary father likes to talk down on the other parent to the child.
Yeah.
And then ultimately that turns that child against that other parent, because you have issues dealing with your significant other because the relationship has ended. Now you're turning this child against their mother or father because you're mad.
Creating a pawn environment is what we call those. We call those the queen of the board, creating pawns, making the children be that and pick a side, and kids are neutral.
So the term
But they're
to
going to
help.
pick a side of the one that the primary caregiver, because that's who they
That's
have to
what
be
they
with
know.
them.
No,
That's
for
their
sure.
loyalty.
So if
Yeah.
we get a chance, everybody, when you go home, please look up parental alienation.
Yes. It's
When
a
you
thing.
get a chance, that is a real thing. And it's starting to become,
Common.
it's common, but what I'm saying is the parent that's doing it is starting to become common, that they are now starting to pay for that behavior.
Yeah.
But look that up. And then my next question I wanted to ask you, because I'm going somewhere with this, how did you grow up? What was your childhood like?
So I was in a single parent home, my mother only, so I never knew how to resolve conflict in relationships, because I never witnessed it. My mother had a longtime boyfriend who, when I was 12, got married to somebody else, and she still received him after that. So to me, in my mind, it was like, oh, okay, a man can go and get married and create a whole other family and still be able to come back and have this family over here. That's perfectly fine at first. And then I started to realize how incorrect and unhealed my childhood space was, because when I started to reflect a lot of what I saw growing up in my household, because I was allowing men to have another woman or be able to come back and spin the block when they wanted to, like, because I was like, oh, okay, there's no problem. He can come whenever he wants. He can go and get somebody else and come back and be with me whenever he wants, and it doesn't matter, because as long as he's with me, he's with me. And I had to realize I had to love myself a lot more than what I was being shown growing up in my household. But conflict resolution was not a part of it, because my mother was a talk down to parent, and it was always a child would stay in a child's place, and you are to be seen and not heard. Do as I say, not as I do. I heard all of these things. And then Ephesians, that scripture in Ephesians about honoring your parents and for your days will be long upon this earth. And then she never ever recite the next verse after that. You know, that parents do not incite your children to anger. Like, none of that was in my house, but it was always for me to stay in my place. So that's how I grew up, was to always stay in my place. But I learned how to be alone in that space, and I also learned how to observe my space, my environment, to know when it's not safe for me. So I'll say that it was a benefit to my growing up that I spent a lot of time by myself, because I had to spend a lot of time by myself because I was in a single parent home.
So that, and thank you for sharing that. Where I'm going with that is you are an example of what we all can do. Like, unfortunately, because of our circumstances, we will continue to make the excuse of, I can't, this is just me. And that's why I wanted you to share that, because it's powerful for people to know that even if I don't get therapy at that time or whatever the situation is, there's something in my gut that's not sitting right, that's making me say to myself, like, there needs to be a change.
Yeah.
We don't recognize that. We ignore that feeling. We ignore those thoughts. We ignore a lot of the things that are for our benefit in order to stay stuck in pain, because it's easier. It's easier to be bitter. It's easier to be angry and upset and to go along life this way because that's who you are.
Because there's familiarity in that.
Exactly.
It's common in your environment to be angry, and to react a certain way to certain situations. So you see it, you hear it, you do it.
Yep. So that's because toxicity is infectious, right? But what we want to do is remove ourselves from toxic situations. But when love comes in, or so that we think love is, when it's lust, it's hard for humans, no race, no age, no gender, to remove themselves from toxic things, because, as he said, when you don't know what trauma is, it's already normal to you. So you said it. You saw what your mama did. So you think you do it. It's normal. Well, see, the brain is set up, right? The brain is set up to do the things it's supposed to do. It only does what it's supposed to do for the human body. We give the brain too much. So from 0 to 3, 75% of your entire brain is only used for using a bathroom, walking, and talking. That's all the brain does. It teaches you how to get up when you want to. You don't be like, all right, stand up, Cynthia. No, the brain does that. All right, JT, so how was your day yesterday? The brain does that. My bladder's full. The brain says go to the bathroom. So you're taught that without a human touching a bladder saying it's time for you to go to the bathroom. All the brain does is hears your adult someone say, this is how you use the bathroom, pay attention to it. And most often, they leave a dirty diaper on the baby so they get irritated to go to the bathroom. Because there's no way for me as a human to tell you, you gotta use the bathroom. Same thing with toxicity. I don't know how much toxicity my clients have absorbed, so I teach them that there's no normalcy in it, even though their sponge years of their lives, the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, all they see is what they see, and at 15 they've mastered it, and no one's taught them that, right? So now, from 8 to 15, right, the brain gives you a little wiggle room to understand what you've learned from 0 to 3. So at about 8, the brain says, okay, now you can read, now you can write. Now you can write. Now you know 2 plus 2 is 4. Now you know that. Let's gotta put that all together and then say please and thank you and no ma'am and yes sir. Let's put that all together. So at 15, when peer pressure is around, and my boyfriend want to break up with me, I fire on him. Blow! No, she hit me. I just know that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what they do at the house. Everything is, I just know that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what they do at the house. if it's that toxicity type of home. But there's some 15-year-olds who know nothing about that. There's some teenagers that don't know nothing about toxicity. There's some kids ain't never been pawned from their parents. There's some children grew up and they done told their mama, I ain't picking no side. I'm going, bro, you don't like dude, I mess with dude. Dude from pick me up. Your daddy can't go over here. Yes, he is. He ain't come to see you. He come to see me. I'm finna go. Now they don't have that room, that wiggle room, because what one parent is not doing, which is probably the absentee parent, they ain't bashing the mom every time they get the baby. They're just showing them a good time. They're letting them be a kid. They're introducing them to their other side of the family, and they're keeping them out the adult stuff. So that kid may grow up and be like, my dad, you don't like my dad, that's a cool dude, I know him, he could do all right. Or dad, mama ain't like that, you just don't know her. Y'all broke up too early, you don't really know her. I'm telling you, she real dope. This is a biased kid. But at the end of the day, there's still some brain issue with sponging up what you see. So yeah, you become toxic until you no longer want to be toxic and you free yourself from toxicity. But the average young girl that grows up that way reminds themselves of who they were with what they saw, and they do the same thing. And then they pick and choose when they decide they don't want to do it. But at the end of the day, a lot of us repeat our cycles, and they don't have accountability partners to say, sis, you wrong. Sis, that ain't right. Sis, let it go. Free yourself. Free yourself.
Who out there been broken up with?
Everybody. And they lying if they ain't.
Who out there broke up with somebody? Okay, so when you broke up, when you
You broke up with them? Josh, I don't got time for this.
so when you broke up with somebody, how was your next? How did you treat that next week? How did that next week look for you after you broke up with that person? Anybody?
You hit it
There's a
head
microphone
on.
somewhere
Did you
out there.
struggle in it? Struggle in it?
I think a lot of it was just when I broke up. Thank you.
Vanna?
When I broke up, or can I use the divorce section of that?
Yeah.
You can
Okay,
use whatever
so
you like.
when I broke up or divorced, I had just made up in my mind. One, I was gonna date outside my race. I was just done with. I'm just being real. I was just gonna date outside my race. I was gonna do, I had made my mind. I'm Nigerian or I don't know, but it didn't. God didn't let that happen. He didn't let that happen. But I was just coming out of it like, listen, this black woman thing it's just not working for me because of the aggressiveness, because of just the abuse I went through. I took a lot of verbal abuse. I just wasn't a man to put my hands on my wife. You see what I'm saying? Now, she put her hands on me, but it didn't hurt. You know what I mean? But it was just a fact. I'm not dealing with that again.
It didn't hurt physically, but it hurted mentally.
Right. Because it was my manhood that was being hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because she knew you wouldn't hit her.
And Tina knew that.
That's
And she knew I didn't come from that. So back to your question, I had made up in my mind, I'm finna stick and move. Yeah. I'm finna pull up. I'm finna hee-hee, ha-ha.
What's hee-hee, ha-ha?
I'm finna sit around, laugh and talk, have something to drink.
Then it's ooh,
And
ooh,
then
ah,
I'm finna
Smash and pull.
I'm finna smash and pull.
Yeah.
That's just what I had
Too
figured
bad.
because
Too
I'm
bad.
like, I'm not finna open up and be involved too much because I just come out of this situation. And like someone said earlier, you need someone. You need to be touched and talked to and uplifted by someone. Men, people don't realize how much we go through as a man. From when we wake up and we hit the door, we are in defense mode for being respected, from getting the bills done, making sure you're at work, dealing with whoever you work for, or if you own your own business, running my company. So we're always on guard. So when I go home and I'm living in my house by myself, I'm thinking, first, I'm lonely. I don't have anyone to talk to. I don't want to text 2 hours. I don't want to be on the phone 2 or 3 hours. Right. So I just made up in my mind, I'm just going to find me something to move with, and then I'm going to see where that goes. And if it goes well, cool. If it don't, I'm not going to get too much invested, and then I'm just going to go on to the next one. Now, that's not healthy because I wasn't really dealing with the fact I'm a I'm 50 years old. I have 25 years of marriage, and now I'm single.
Yeah.
But I was able to, Cynthia, me and my wife, and I'll say this, I'll be done. We said we was going to do counseling after we got divorced. Now, me and my ex-wife, we are beautiful friends. Like, we always are laughing and talking. We said the other day, we're better now than we was before.
Yeah.
But when we decided to go to counseling with Cynthia, we both had decided, no matter what counseling we do, we just not going to work. It's not going to work because of the damage that was done. I'm not saying I don't forgive, but I know that's still in there. Because as soon as you start drinking, your mouth get loose.
Right.
And when your mouth get loose, your hands get loose. And if your hands keep getting loose, then it's going to be a problem. So I just went from one relationship, or whatever you call those 6-month intervals, to the next 3-4 months, to the next 7 months, or whatever. But now I understand that I can't do that. So I don't think that's healthy for a man or a woman. But in the man state, it wasn't just laying up, because a lot of it didn't get that far. I just wanted the female companionship.
Yeah.
And most of it I wanted at my place. I didn't want to be at your place, because I don't know what you got going on. I know I don't have female company, so I can dictate what the motion is. So I just went from one woman to the next.
So y'all remember what I said earlier? When a man break up, what does he do?
Smash a pool.
See what I'm saying?
Jump on top and get
It's really common with men. And that, okay, give me a lady that's broken up with somebody. Tell me how your week went after you broke up with somebody. Come on, y'all.
I got one.
You,
I
don't
learned,
want
not
you,
me.
them.
Okay, one of them.
We got people here. Come on.
I moved like a dude. I was
I don't know.
smashing too.
Listen. She said I was smashing too.
I remember I was one of the dudes who was smashing.
On to the next one.
I was one of the guys she was smashing after she broke up with somebody.
I was
Give me
smashing
some.
too. Okay. Oh my God.
So for me, I'll say, you said the week after.
Yeah, say you
The
broke
week-
up. Yeah, the week after. How did your week look?
Yeah, it's not good. It's a whole lot of crying. It's a whole lot of God. Like, for me, it's failure. So I keep looking at myself like, how did I fail? Like, how did I not do this? So it's an internal introspection for me to go through and figure out what did I do here where I didn't get what I wanted out of this situation. So it's a whole lot of talking to God in that first week. And then after that, I'm in the streets again.
See? So what did I say earlier? First thing that a man do is he want companionship. Yeah. The female, they wallow in it for a minute and make themselves better because of it. They just told you.
She
Next.
went a week,
Give me somebody.
just 1 week. She was in them streets.
Yeah, it was kind of.
I'm messing with you.
Hey.
I'm messing with you.
Hey, John. Look,
My listening ears, I'm there.
hey,
Like,
John.
I know what I heard.
But she still was an emotional wreck
When I said it,
for 7 days.
look. When I said it, I was thinking more like 2 months, maybe. But if a week works, a week works.
Oh, 7 days. Done with that now.
All right, go ahead.
So I'm a little bit like her. So when I broke up, when my ex-husband left me, the first week, like she said, it's a whole lot of crying. It's a whole lot of blame. It's a whole lot of looking at yourself. What did you do wrong? What went wrong? Where did I open myself up wrong, or could I done something different? But after you get off of that, then I start moving like her. I start moving like a dude. Now I'm not saying that was right, okay? Right. But that's how I move, because it's, hurt people. You start hurting. So you don't want to be hurt again. So you start moving. You start sticking and moving. Women stick and move too. Okay. We do that too, just like men.
Yeah.
So that's the attitude that I had. I didn't want to be hurt again, and I had children. So my main focus was my children and getting what I need to do, getting that bag, securing the bag. So that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
And we have to be careful as men that we don't ruin our next relationship, because the next woman don't deserve some of the baggage we as men can bring on. And when we bring that baggage on, we're taking the chance of really hurting someone that's really, every woman has never
And see, that's the thing, that, like I said, right after that breakup, that's not in our thought pattern.
Right.
Actually, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
It's not in our thought pattern of hurting somebody else. We just trying to ease the pain.
Is that your way of, for men though, to be like, this is my healing, but I know it don't look like it is, but I'm just kind of doing something else?
I don't think it's a healing thing. I think it's more of a pride thing.
Okay.
You know, forget her. Fuck her.
Trying to get over it. Okay.
Shit, I can get me another one. I ain't got to deal with that. It's more of that. It's not a, ego, pride. It's not a healing thing. You start healing later once you realize that you just, all of this ain't helping. You start healing later on.
How about when you moving on and you thinking you smashing and pull, but there's a time where you by yourself?
I ain't never had problems being by myself.
No, I mean when you are, what that look like, right? Like say for instance, okay, you broke up with your homegirl, you met somebody, right? Then you had a cold Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but that Tuesday, ain't nobody around but you.
That's when you start healing, and
Okay.
it's usually like a week, 2 weeks after. Take that microphone back there for me, please, wifey. It's usually for a man, you know, because money becomes an issue running them streets.
Yeah.
So you got to stop.
I just want to know what it looks like that day when you by yourself and it like,
you probably
how
not.
do
You
it
probably
hurt?
not. I mean, some may cry, but back then, you know, we wasn't crying back then.
Okay.
It just became
Anybody cry?
okay
Any men?
for men to cry. It just became okay like
have you
7
cried?
years ago.
Ain't nobody gonna
I
admit
think
it.
somebody, I'll answer that, but
Somebody
Go ahead,
in
bro.
the audience.
Go ahead.
I'll yield to Josh. Go ahead. You can answer it, Josh.
Josh ain't gonna answer it. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go after you, family.
My thinking is, when it happened to me, and I had to be by myself, I had to deal with me at that point. And I had to deal with the aspect that I'm by myself and I'm alone. And for a man, especially if you're a Christian man, in the Bible it says a man is not supposed to be alone. And when we get in that space to where we are alone, that's really a dangerous space for a man to be in, because an idle mind is the what? Devil's workshop, right?
Yeah, facts.
So we'll do things to appease our flesh or appease our mind instead of understanding what we have to do in that time. Now, if we can sit down and we can think about what happened, we'll replay it over and over and over. That's when we have to get closer to God, or we have to get closer to true friends that can truly help you cope through that situation. I'm an 80s baby, so we didn't grow up crying. And it was different for us growing up because we grew up with the concept of, hey, you a boy or you a man, you don't cry. So a lot of us hide our feelings, and we do that now as adults.
But I want you to do that now.
It sounds good.
Yeah, but I don't.
It sounds good, and the ideology of it sounds good. But when you have somebody that is trained to do that, that's all we know. Now, when we get more knowledge and get more understanding, and we're able to get counseling,
Yeah.
some people ain't got insurance where they can go get counseling. So now we got this good job, we can go get this good counseling in, and we can actually talk to somebody that can help us think differently about something. But the first step is us actually sitting by ourselves and dealing with us, and dealing with the ability to be alone. Because as a man, especially in Georgia, it is easy for us to say, I'll go get another one. Why? Because you have other ladies, not pointing at nobody in the room, but you got other ladies that have just gotten out of relationships, and they got that week of being to the streets. And they gonna meet that man in the grocery store, they gonna meet that man at the club, and it's simple to just say, hey, I'm hurt, you hurt, let's just be hurt together and dive into this toxic energy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I'm done. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Your turn,
great
Josh.
Feedback. Great feedback.
All right, Josh.
Josh, you ready?
Come on, Josh. Come on.
You can do it. You can do
Take it back.
He's gonna go. He's going next.
it. He gonna go next.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm a 60s baby.
Okay.
So I don't know nothing about crying. Men don't cry. We don't do that tearing up thing. But now, today, I realize that crying is healthy.
Absolutely.
Men don't want to cry, but it's healthy to cry.
That's right.
Because if you hold it in, it just makes it worse.
That's right.
And I've had the toxic relationships where I should have left a long time ago.
Yeah.
Should have just ran, but I stayed there because of my children. And that's what a lot of women do and a lot of men do. They stay for their children. And I was raised without a dad. My dad would call him a pop-in. He popped in, popped out. He was never there.
Not pop in.
So when I had my daughter, it was like, oh no, my whole world changed. I was no longer a dog. I didn't run the streets because what you do now falls on your children.
Yeah.
So I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
But the mama was toxic.
Okay.
She was a toxic. I had to find out the hard way that she liked women more than she liked me.
Oh.
But I had a daughter that I wanted to be with my daughter. So yeah, I cried. I almost gave up on life because of I didn't know how to deal with a relationship. My grandmother used to abuse my granddaddy, but he never left.
Yeah.
My mama got abused by my stepdaddy, but then he went to jail. But he got out, but she never went back to him. So I've been raised by a woman, so I know what you women go through. So I would never put you through that. But right now, I found me a queen.
Okay.
I found a queen. I call her my queen. Because when shit hit the fan, she right there to direct the fan the other way.
I love
And
it.
she protects me. She makes sure that I'm straight. These young girls don't know how to cook. My queen cook. No, hey, don't take it wrong.
No
Some of y'all
offense,
do cook.
I get it.
But a lot of women don't cook. And if you cook for your man, he'll come home to that meal.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm with her because I with her for COD, Coochie on Demand.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, thank you.
Hey.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, man.
Cindy said, okay.
He old school for real.
Like that for real?
He old school for real back there.
We're
bro.
using that one. COD, baby. Take somebody.
He raised his hand. You
Josh.
wanted it back next, didn't you?
Josh, we gotta close out, so you gotta finish it. We
close
gotta
out?
close out. Yeah,
What
we
was the
gotta
question
close
again?
What was that question?
What was the question?
out. Josh, you ever cried? Have you ever cried after a breakup?
No. I didn't cry because of my pain and my trauma. So I do understand what all the men are saying as far as like, we don't, men aren't supposed to cry and all of that, but my voice was taken from me as a kid. That's why I enjoy these opportunities like this.
Yes.
Because it's a chance to talk and express. My behavioral pattern was also a lot different because I want to pose something to the room and you can answer this when you go home. But why is it that we're willing to do the work once the relationship is done and not doing the work while currently in it?
Yeah.
I listened to what everybody was saying. And it was like, as soon as it's over, we go through this process.
Right.
When we're supposed to be going through the process every day.
Facts.
That's the real growth. That's how we really do evolve as people, by continuing to do the work every day. So I can go on that tangent, but my spirit is directing me this way.
Yeah.
So I want to tell you, as a gentleman that has just met you an hour and a half ago, I love you, and I don't want anything from you. I think it's so important that you hear that from somebody that's on the opposite side, that genuinely wants to see you win and heal and do the work. My spirit was so heavy because I know what you're going through, and the fact that you're continuing to fight that fight, I relate to that pain. I know it when I see it. I relate to that pain, but it's important that you know that you are enough and that you're beautiful and that you have so much going for yourself outside of what you've gone through.
Right.
I genuinely love you. I think that you're a beautiful person with a beautiful soul and spirit, and you're deserving of whatever it is that you want. But even though you're deserving of it, that's not predicated on if you get it or not.
That's right.
You need to hear that too. If you never have a man in your life, that is okay.
Right.
If you never have a child in your life, that is okay.
Okay, girl.
You're beautiful and you matter.
Yeah.
Everything about you, your soul, your spirit, everything that you have to offer into this world, it matters. I've been wanting to say this since I first heard your story. Because it's important that you know it, and I hope that you receive it.
Yeah.
And I'm praying for you, and I hope that you know that you have a brother in me that genuinely cares about you. That's it.
I don't normally cry.
Amazing. 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 Great job.
You know, I have a tough job, so I
I can imagine.
am strong, right? Especially at work when I have to deal with very, very traumatic things that I see on a daily basis, and then campaigning on this campaign trail. So I have to be tough. I can never have a moment when I'm vulnerable, even when I'm telling my story to the constituents of DeKalb County. So thank you for giving me the opportunity today to be vulnerable. I have not been vulnerable.
But as you run on that trail, though, I think sometimes it's important for people to see this.
Yes, I was
Because
just gonna
this is
say that.
also the reason why our young men and our young women are growing up the way that they are, because we don't see vulnerability enough and it's viewed as weak.
That's right.
What you just did
Yes.
was the strongest thing that anybody can ever do. Let somebody see you. Remove that mask. That's dead.
Facts.
Be who you're supposed to be as you're out here serving and doing what God gave you and your purpose. We get enough representatives
That's right.
all day long. Family, friends, the people that we deal with. Everything that we have to do is involved with a representative. I hope that you allow people to really get to experience you. And you can control that.
That's right.
All of us in here at one point in time, we put the wall up because it's the way to protect. And what we're really doing is tearing ourselves down
That's right.
and not really realizing it.
Yeah.
I wish, let me share this with you. I wish I could do what you're doing right now. I've done interviews. I've had heavy talks in front of my kids. And as much as I feel the emotion, I can't get a tear to come out. That's how much I've experienced and the pain that I've gone through. So the fact that you can do what you're doing, I envy you. Because that's so powerful. And I appreciate you for showing me. You've planted a seed in me today by showing your vulnerability. And I want to say thank you.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Thank you, and you're welcome.
And you know,
Josh,
just to
you in the
kinda
wrong
close
line of
it out,
business.
this has been, I think, one of the most profound, right, conversation that we had because it's so realistic. And you know, Tyshawn, I'm part of the NCNW, the National Coalition of Negro Women, and we were at our meeting the other day, and I was just like, sis, you gotta tell the story. Like, people who about to vote for you need to know who they voting for real. Like, of course, I'm in the county and I'm voting for it. I don't care. I can tell you that out the gate. Yeah. So at the same time, it's just to understand that we in a group of hundreds of powerful women. I mean, I can't imagine. We were at the state capitol the other day. Like, we come in droves and we do whatever. But sis, I would be remiss to sit here and not tell you, of course, I'll do your counseling services. Don't worry about that. We got you. And I tell everyone, anyone whose ears hear my voice, see a therapist on a regular basis. Most people go every week because once you start getting in the mode, you need it, right? Then you can shift it however you want. But just like you say, oh my God, I need to go to the doctor, my knee hurt, something hurt. You do that because you think you don't want to die. I want you to switch it and know that the doctors are here to fix this, but you got to fix this. You need to sit on the couch chair, boat. I don't care where your therapist takes you. Schedule an appointment. Do that tomorrow morning. Find you a person that, and it might take a few people, right? If you know the fit, like I went to that dentist, I like them. I went to that doctor, I like them. But when you find them, like we stuck now. Get you somebody you can see every month at least. When talk about insurance, I heard that there are several clients there are several therapists. We don't worry about that. But pick the phone up and make the call. Right? Make the call. You gotta let this stuff out. Don't hold it. You're destroying yourself and everybody you touch. Always look at it like it's the garbage of your whole past, and you just taking it everywhere you go. Your garbage from your kindergarten classroom. Remember with all the milk and all that? Everywhere you go, you taking your garbage from when you was a baby to today. Just taking it everywhere you go, and maybe that allows you to just free yourself and put that baggage and all that stuff in the garbage. Any questions? We're going to close out, take a few pictures, and get the show started. Well, I want to thank y'all so much for coming. We plan to make sure we do this like as much as we can, but thank y'all so much, so much, so much. Thanks for the audience participation. We appreciate you. Thanks to Classic Conversations. Of course, you know we love the fact that y'all share y'all platform with us. Thank you, Josh. Thank you so much for showing up, making sure the men have their voice, and they can be vulnerable to the things they've been through. You can get you crying though, baby. It's okay.
We got some new people that came in. What we need for y'all to do is pull your cell phones out and go to YouTube and pull up Classic Conversations. That's Classic with a K and Conversations with a K, and just hit that button up there and subscribe. It's free. And basically what we do, we have each week we have a podcast, and we actually post it there. Different things about the community. Next month, we're doing a series on dating in Atlanta. We're going to do men and women 40 and under. Then we're going to do men and women 40 and over. And then we're going to have everybody back right here in this room and have a conversation about, what y'all going through out there as y'all single folks. I feel for you. Sometimes I feel pretty good about you, but it's a lot going on out there, man. Y'all got a lot to deal with, for real. For real.
A lot going on.
But every now and then, though, sometimes, boy, she say some stuff, and I be like, boy, I wish I was single. But most of the time, I'm happy to be right where I'm at. Because when I tell you, she takes that fan off me, what my man say about the shit?
Shit hit the fan, and she turn around.
Boy, I ain't smelled like shit in a long time. Cause she done changed that fan so many times. That's for real, for real. So, yes, make sure that you follow that. Yeah, how do they follow you real quick?
Candidate for state court judge. I want you all to vote if you are DeKalb County residents on May 21st, and actually early voting starts April 29th. Please follow me on Instagram, Tyshawn for Judge, Facebook, Tyshawn Jackson for Judge, and I hope to be back. I hope I made family status. Yeah. I'm trying to unbox that.
You did.
Josh, let them know where they can follow you at. I know you ain't really.
Josh 21 Powell. That's pretty much it. Check your boy book out, What I Wish I Knew.
Yeah, don't follow Josh on Facebook, because he ain't going to never respond to your request. It's just going to be sitting there. But you can tag him.
Gotta get his book.
You can tag him still if you, but you just.
Look.
Boy, they're applying pressure. Goodness.
Crazy.
I'm on Facebook.
Josh got about 5,000 friend requests still pending.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So you follow me at Love From Afar. Love, L-O-V-E from F-R-O-M, afar, A-F as in Frank, A-R. And if I always have people, no matter what, they always reach out. But y'all don't suffer through that. If you need some therapy, give us a call. Love, L-O-V-E from F-R-O-M, afar, A-F as in Frank, A-R. Love From Afar. Inbox me, and that's my website as well. You can request services, and trust me, I work with you because I want you to get the work. I don't worry about no money.
Telling everybody to slide in your DMs.
Slide in, baby.
Classic Conversations on IG is _classic_conversations.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it on IG. And while you're there, follow me, Classic J, classic_JAE. Uptown Comedy Corner, make sure that you follow that. Keep your eyes out for Uptown Comedy, man. There's some comics coming through here that you've never heard of that is seriously funny. he always say this, stop waiting for the name comedians to come through and come on and support some of these comedians that you never heard of,
Yeah.
you know, because they're pretty funny.
He didn't say nothing today, though.
No, he been
Some conversations, you know,
Yeah,
it was the way it was leading.
Just let it flow.
Just let it flow.
Okay.
that man don't know nothing about breaking up. Been married 57 years.
That's my dog
What you
for
talking
sure,
about?
though. That's my dog for sure. That's a role model
I've
right
never
there.
had a real
I tell
breakup.
people all
That's a
the
true
time.
story.
Yeah.
We don't need to be commenting.
Yeah, that's my dog for sure. Like people, I tell men all the time, and I just everywhere I go, I promise you, people are like, well, why you always doing the uptown comedy? I'm like, man, you don't know, dude, man. Like, dude, listen, profound Black history right here, but this is a great guy. I tell men all the time, you have mentees?
A few.
Few? Man, listen, y'all. Got a lock with him, bruh. I'm telling you, this is a dope guy. These guys right here, like, they not just, you know what I'm saying? These some real brothers, man. Like, they some real brothers with real stories. I remember the very first time I said, JT, you got to speak, you the keynote. You was like, what? Wait, what? I got to speak and I'm in the keynote? Yeah, like, because his story is so profound. Men need to hear what y'all go through. Like, y'all got to tell people, I've been through this stuff, but help me out. And that's what makes it infectious and people will change their lives. So thank y'all so much. We can get out your way.
For sure.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate y'all coming out for sure.
Absolutely.
Can you take a picture real quick?